Welcome to this week's Happy Hour. In this meetup, we have 3 separate topics that we cover rather than just one main topic like we've done in the other coffee mornings or afternoon teas or happy hours as the case may be. We look at the up-and-coming eBay category changes and who they are likely to affect and whether they're going to affect you and your business. We then move on to look at the eBay traffic and ask the audience if they've seen a drop in traffic over the past week or so on eBay. And then we look into a couple of the potential reasons why.
And the final topic that we look at is when we move on to an update from Matt on his responsive listing templates for Understanding E.
Oh, and Dave, looking back on last night's happy hour, because we're recording this the morning after, one of the topics, or one of my favourite topics came up, and that is the topic of OR options, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, totally. And you said that our responsibility as entrepreneurs should be to always look for the and options. So if someone says you can have this or this, we should look around and say, well, actually, we want both. We want that and that.
Yeah, it's exactly that, Dave. It's a mindset. It's an entrepreneurial mindset, because a bit more words out. And it's just a different way of looking to the world than everybody else. Anyway, on that note, as always, throughout the recording, we answer any questions that come in live.
And if you want to join us next week, then simply head over to understandinge.com/happy hour and you can reserve your place there. It's 100% free. And the meetups start at 8:30 GMT time, that's in the UK, which is around 12:30 in the afternoon if you're on the Pacific coast of the US, or about 3:30 in the afternoon if you're in the eastern side of the US.
Or if you're an early bird in the Australia, it's about 5:30 a.m. and that's using Canberra in Australia as the time zone. So for myself, Matt.
And from me, Dave.
We see you on the inside and we'll catch you on the next happy hour. Happy days. Okay. All right. So, Dave, we got a little bit of a mishmash of topics this evening, haven't we?
We do. We've not got one key topic. It's more like 3 smaller ones, which are going to take up the sort of bulk of the meeting today.
That's right. So, first off, hi, Gary.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, how many of us? Let's do some introductions. I'm Matt, and that was Dave talking a few moments ago.
Yeah.
We can see we've got Alex, Gary, Howard, Joe, John, Kirsty, Michael, Patrick, Rich, Simon. There's a lot of Simons on here tonight.
Simon.
2 Steves, and hello, Victoria. And someone else has just joined because the screen just moved down really quickly, and I can see there's some other people connecting as well. So good evening, good afternoon, good morning, or good very morning if you're in Australia as well. So first thing to note is that we've got a new image for Happy Hour, as we're now calling it. Again, a quick hat tip to Design Hub to turn that around in about 2 days for me, because I kind of pointed out what I wanted and drew it out, and they got it back really, really quickly. So, and again, I do need to update the artwork on the site, so we are getting there.
Yeah, and those guys are literally, they were planning their trip to Australia, weren't they? They managed to squeeze that in really quick time. So thanks, massive thanks to those guys.
Yeah, when I spoke to Abbas, he was actually in the airport in Singapore. Like, oh, yeah, your internet's better than Singapore than what it is over in India. Anyway, moving topics. Thank you for joining us this evening, and moving on to tonight's topics, or this happy hour's topics. Number 1, we're going to just cover the introductions and housekeeping, which we've kind of done. We are going to go into the one rule, which most of you already know, but those new which are joining us, we do have one rule for these meetings, and it extends far beyond just this evening. We mean it thoroughly in the forums, in emails directly, and we'll get to that in a few moments. Okay. Dave, do you want to go through tonight's topics?
Yeah, sure. Ooh. So first up, we have the eBay category changes. Now, for those of you who haven't noticed, this morning we published a blog post on the site, which is to give you a heads up about some of the category changes that will be coming into place on June the 16th. And we'll talk about more of those in just a moment. We then are going to have a look at quite an interesting topic, and it's about eBay traffic slash sales. And have you noticed sales or traffic to your site or your listings going down since or sort of post-hack last week or post-Google update maybe a couple of weeks ago?
Or post-bank holiday weekend as well. Sorry, Dave, I added to the notes earlier, which is that it's an interesting dynamic going on at the moment, and we can't put our fingers on which one it is.
No, there's a few things there, and that is what we're going to be sort of exploring, hopefully with you guys to chip in with any of your experiences, but we know what we are seeing here. I was just reading just before we went live an interesting post about the Google updates and their impacts on eBay. Again, we'll talk more about that in just a minute. And finally, the responsive listing template, Mr. Osborne.
Oh, yeah. And I can tell you right now, it's not been through brute force or lack of effort on my part. And we'll get to that one shortly. And again, I've had to wind it back a few levels. I was after the almighty goal of this, and I can't get there in a sensible time frame. So I need to wind it back a bit and find a halfway house so I can at least get you version 1 for that. So,
and just to give you an idea on that one, is that for the past few years, I've always had this sort of theory that whenever Matt's quiet, he's actually got his head down and working really hard on something. And Matt, for the past 3 or 4 days, has just been quiet. All I've known is every now and again I get this update. Oh, I've got this working, I've got that working, but this isn't doing what I want it to do, and this could be better.
Yeah, usually involving a swear word or two. Yeah, exactly. Although, I must admit, Bank Holiday Monday, I did manage to grab some sunshine because it was supposed to be raining, and I did take the opportunity to go and get some fresh air with the family, so I also squeezed a bit of family time in there as well. Okay. We do have a podcast coming up soon as well, so I'm looking forward to that one as well because it's been quite a while. Okay, lots of rain in Texas. Whoa, okay. We've lots of rain here today, but yesterday was fantastic. Okay, so for those of you which are new to the new happy hour, okay, this extends beyond just this evening. Okay, so there is a chat box on the left-hand side. It is an open chat, so feel free to chat amongst yourselves in the background. Okay, do you see this? Again, Richard's just popped a message in there. Do you see the small error in the admin login understanding Magento theme? No, but if you could grab me a screenshot of that, Richard, stick a red circle on it, and I'll go and nail it as well. By the way, Dave, that's the topic which we missed. We need to squeeze that one in, which was the understanding the admin theme update as well.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Okay, so yeah, Richard, if you could take a screenshot of that, draw on the screen, and then send it across, and I'll get it fixed in the next update for you. Okay. Coming back into the topic, there's no such thing as a daft question if you don't know the answer. The forums are open 24/7. Underneath any of the video tutorials, there is a comments box which now works again. Little bug which we had last week. Please just ask. We're not ever going to take the mick or the piss, if you excuse the term for that, out of you. That's just us being honest. It's that if you're stuck, please just do ask. Okay. So moving on, Dave, the eBay category updates. What's going on with those?
Yeah, sure. So, eBay categories. This happens every now and again, where eBay will update their categories on, the categories in which you list to. It was a few years ago now, which we saw a massive sort of overhaul in the UK. And there's loads and loads of category changes and caused quite a few headaches for a few people. Now, the good news is that they are nowhere near severe for the UK and Ireland this time, or the USA, Australia, and Germany. We have all got off very lightly, basically, for these category updates. I think the UK has one renaming change for jacuzzis and spas to whirlpool baths. That's it. And the USA, Australia, and Germany all have maybe 10 to 15 category renames and changes. We've got off really lightly, and that's because we've been through the sort of heartache. Yes, world poo baths. It's an interesting category, Joe. But yeah, so we've been through this heartache before, and unfortunately now it's a time for sort of mainland Europe. So we've got eBay, France, Italy, and Spain, who are going to be seeing the large changes, the large updates. And as Matt can see right now, he's looking on the screen, that they're pretty much bringing Spain, France, and Italy all into line with the rest of, USA, Australia, Germany, UK. And that's because when eBay first started, the reason that they're doing this isn't because they think it's fun to mess around with categories and all those sort of things. It's basically to create unification. And it's to create a sort of a unified category structure amongst all of the eBay sites. And the reason for doing this is it just makes cross-border trade that much easier. If you can list like for like, yes, I do.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
But yeah, so basically they're going to bring the rest of Europe in line with USA, UK, Australia, Germany, and like I said, this time around it's France, Italy, and Spain. So if you do sell in those marketplaces, then you are going to more than likely have a few sort of category changes to keep up to date.
Yeah, just put it into perspective, that's something which eBay's been doing over the past 2 to 3 years, is bringing the European and, in fact, all the sites down to like a common category tree. And we've seen it again. We've been through some really harsh changes in the UK for the categories. And it personally fills me with dread because I know what's involved in them. So just thinking from a practical point of view is that the moment they put these changes in, your products, if they're in one of the categories which has been changed, it's kind of worst case scenario, is that product's going to end up in the other category on eBay when someone's actually searching through. So you do need to be aware of them, especially if you're on, France, Spain, and Italy sites. Okay. Yep. So a little bit of a double whammy because they're going to be in a different language as well. So if you are selling onto those sites, there's some really big changes on those. And we would strongly suggest that you actually dive in and plan ahead for those so that you can update your listings accordingly with the new category IDs in. Again, if you do it now in May, well, it's still May, should I say, is that you've got like 2 weeks or so to be able to prepare for this change to come in. Again, eBay did let us know about that there was going to be some category updates back in the seller updates in April or March or whenever it was. So we knew that they were coming, but it's the European sites which have had a big whack. Okay, and again, if you don't sell onto those sites, then you're perfectly fine. You can pretty much ignore them to a large degree. Even Germany had like two changes.
Something like that. Yeah, I think off memory, I think there was an extra T in literature or something, the German word for books, I'm guessing, which had been removed. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, really straightforward. Okay. So I've just lost the tabs which I was working on. And let me grab that one. Grab that one back. So I just get myself organised in the background.
Yeah, Simon, that's an interesting one. I was only thinking about that the other day. A lot of graffiti still on pics, as in, rubbish sort of promotion stuff and shop names and things like that. Yeah, I also do wonder when eBay are going to crack down on that and how they're going to crack down on that.
Yeah, indeed. So just the point of view, it's still allowed in some categories like parts and accessories, vehicle parts and accessories, the one category which seems to get away with blue murder on eBay. Again, if you're a parts seller, that's really happy days. You're fine. I can see Richard going, yes, in the background. So if you are a parts seller, happy days. I think you've managed to get away with it for quite a long period of time. Again, we know that eBay are going to catch up with that sooner or later, so it's only a short period of time. From a practical point of view, what would I do if I'd been cleaned up all my images and I can see a competitor who hasn't cleaned up all their images? That's what eBay support is for. Okay, so it's a tricky. Again, it was a great advantage for a long period of time Yeah, it's going to go, and it's going for the right reasons as well. It was very well done in some circumstances and really badly done in others. And again, it's just bringing eBay up to that higher level, which kind of gets us on to the next topic, because there is a little bit of a silver lining to what's the stuff's gone on with the eBay update and the eBay traffic whack. So there you go. I think probably the biggest question is, have any of you seen a dip in sales over the last 4 to 5 days, specifically from eBay? If you can let us know in the chat box, that would be very, very curious.
And just to add to that, sort of dip in sales which can't be explained by normal seasonality. So you guys might notice your quiet Fridays and Saturdays. You know, that's quite normal. Okay. Yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag by the looks of it. Okay, so we know that some of you've seen dips in there, and again, it looks like it's a bit of a mixed bag, isn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing definitive there, is there?
Yeah, it's a curious one. Yeah, 2-day dip. Okay, so let's have a look at some like the dynamics which are going on in the background. Okay, so like it's a free blow hit basically. Is that so? Number one, Google released a Panda update. So, in basic terms, they tweaked the algorithm for eBay pages. For the Google search results. Now, the thing is that it's being reported anywhere between 20% and 40% hit to eBay, and apparently, okay, I'm using webpronews.com as the reference. And again, let me just get the links up on my screen.
Yeah, I was just reading. This is what I was reading just before we went live. Actually, about a manual hit on eBay.
Yeah. Apparently, it was a manual hit. And again, there's only one SEO news site which I listen to, and which is Web Pro News, and you can get their email updates. It's not overly spammy as well. If you do sign up their newsletter every couple of days or so, always really, really good. So yeah, not all my competitors happy days. So,
hey, you love Google right now, Simon.
But the thing is that eBay got this big slap, and the reason why eBay got this big slap is because they had a lot of like doorway pages, which is like something which you would do back in the early 2000s to just have landing pages, which really didn't serve any purpose for customers per se, but they're really meant for search engines. Okay, so the general theme. Again, this is a much later article, but the general theme was that they were really surprised that Google would let eBay get away with it for so long. Okay, and the search metrics has popped up that apparently eBay.com got a 33% hit. And again, there is a note in there. It's not always been 100% accurate in the past. Okay, but whatever went on, eBay did get a big slap for the search results. And again, by the looks of it, it's probably the longer search terms. We know them as long tail keywords. Yeah, and again, the long tail, it does make up 80% of the search which goes on. Not everybody just types in digital camera. They do much longer searches within Google to find products, and it's in those longer ones which kick in. Okay. Fiber optic search for it. So we had a Google update. Okay, and there's always this little bit of mess afterwards. Some people win. Again, we've seen wins. Understanding our search results which have come up have come through really, really well. We noticed the difference around that time. And again, we did do some speed increases at the point in time. We've noticed the bounce rate drop down as well. Again, it's just for some of the other work which we've been doing in the background. And again, we saw 7% increase in visitors post the speed updates as well. That's again just making the site load faster. But if we think about what Google have done for this, again, it's fair enough eBay's just got slapped for this, but if we think about what's actually gone on, is that Google's just got rid of some of the really rubbish result pages in there. Okay. And if we also think about what Google wants, is that Google doesn't want a highly linked website. What Google really wants is to return the best search result for the keywords which you've been and entered. So, for example, I was searching for something called JavaScript earlier, is that I need the answers for what I'm looking for. And quality, unique content always wins. Okay, it's probably like how half of you found us in the first place. It's more, probably much more. Okay, that's how you found us, is that me and Dave chosen the hardest route possible to build content. Okay, which is that there's a lot of video content which Google can't understand, especially because it's hosted on Vimeo. We got supporting articles, and we're going for the longest, like the hardest route possible. And the thing is that when you're trying to do something which is the hardest route possible, you're normally onto the right thing. Okay, it's just taken away from eBay and Amazon and the whole everything what we're doing, is that normally the harder the task, the more worthwhile it is to do. And the thing is that over time it will win. That's why you guys turn back up on the website. That's why you're on this happy hour this evening for it. Is because we put the time and effort in. And again, what does that mean for you? That means is that just because you've got your website up and running and you've just got eBay up and running, you've just got Amazon, the work doesn't stop there. That's only one part of the picture. Again, it's a big part, having the website over the line. It's a big part of having the marketplaces over the line. And it's a challenge, but it's only part way there. Okay, and thank you, Richard, for sending me the image over as well. Okay, now on to number 2. eBay also publicized that they had some user details which were hacked or obtained by not very pleasant means by those of it. And again, this doesn't look like, well, from what I've read, is that it wasn't someone hacking into their database. It came through a pair of users. Again, is that right, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, again, I made a comment in the forums already. I think it was maybe taken the wrong way at times. It certainly wasn't meant to be, but I just think the media do a fantastic job of spinning things out of proportion. Yes, data online being taken, it happens all the time, and you do expect big businesses like eBay to be able to protect themselves from this. But as we saw with Heartbleed and the SSL, people like Google were caught out by this. They're almost like the godfather of the internet these days, Google. And they were caught out with, what could have potentially been a security breach. Now, the interesting thing is there's no proof that any data was actually taken, and the password data, your details are all encrypted by eBay. So the chances of someone actually sitting down and decrypting it are going to be pretty slim anyway. But as a worst case scenario, eBay had to do the right thing because there was a possibility that someone could, get access to your password. They had no other choice. They had to tell you to update the passwords. My major flaw with that was eBay didn't take control of the situation in the best way that they could. They let the media spin it, and they let, eBay were really quiet for like a couple of days before, they actually started sharing information with what had gone on. And this is apparently something which had happened a few months ago, that they noticed this, and they'd spent that time looking into how this breach, how this security defect had been allowed to happen.
Which is quite normal, just to jump in.
Oh yeah, totally.
It will be sat on for a long period of time while they go back and work out what on earth happened, what on earth happened. But yeah, I think you're right. What's happened is that it hit the public domain, and then
eBay were ready for it in a way. They were ready for the public outcry. And oh god,
Yeah, exactly. So it could have been handled quite a bit better. If I'm honest.
And I think the spin-off of that is now people think that their eBay accounts aren't safe and eBay isn't safe. And again, that was potentially a causality for this drop in traffic. Right? And that was what we were curious to find out when we asked you before if you'd seen a drop in traffic. Could this not only just be a hit by the Google manual update, but also a lack of a hit on the trust department by customers, by businesses. It's an interesting one.
Exactly. And the third thing as well, Dave, is that it was the bank holiday in the United Kingdom as well. And they're always weird when it comes to sales, is because by Monday, they're going to take day. Most people are working. They've got the day off. Most other people. Okay, not us. We're not working it because we're business owners. But general employees will take the day off or have the day off. And that's always going to be disruptive for a weekend as well. So until we get into like next week, the week after, we don't know what the impact's going to be. Okay. Now the curious thing is, or the one biggest saving grace which I can give you, which is that thank goodness that all of this stuff is happening in May. Okay. If this had just kicked off in October or even like September, October time, this would be pretty serious stuff, as in that there would be no time to recover. It would be right into getting really close into peak buying time. And again, it sucks if you're selling tents, for example, something for the summer, I know. But just from a practical point of view, traditionally the biggest peak for most businesses is over the Christmas period. And thank goodness it's kind of happening now. So by the time we get to September, October, most of this will be forgotten. Again, it's probably got rid of a lot of dead eBay accounts, to be fair, as well. So maybe the spring clean was a good idea. It's got some benefits to it. So that's the one saving grace which we can say. It's May. Thank goodness this is kicked off now and not much later on in the year as well. Can I just have a look, pause for a few moments to have a look at the comments? So I think people have seen so many big companies being hacked lately that changing your passwords and moving on with your day is the norm. Yeah, I think you agree with that. Maybe the Heartbleed has lessened the impact to this. And again, Heartbleed was quite specific, and I'm not going to go up into the details for it, but it was pretty rare, but it was still hard to get your details. It was, again, all those companies did all the right things to say about Heartbleed. And again, just from a personal point of view, Widget Chimp wasn't affected because we didn't actually have that version of OpenSSL on the site. So, yeah. But again, you still have to be in the middle to get the data, so very tricky. Okay.
I think one of the things for me, Matt, is with this Google manual update, if that is true, that does surprise me, because I've always been of the opinion that, and certainly I've been told by numerous people as well, that the Google eBay relationship has always been quite strong. They've always got on really well. The whole more and more eBay listings showing up in Google searches, and well, up until now. But there was even talk of Google potentially looking at buying eBay not so long ago. Yeah, so it just goes to show, doesn't it, that business is business with these guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, eBay spends oodles with Google on search advertising as well, because it works. It works for them, and again, they got to deal with massive campaigns rather than just in many cases a handful of products in comparison. So it does work. Search comparison, search engine searches, they do work. Again, it's proven to work over a very long period of time. So yeah, no
preferential treatment for your mates.
No. Yeah, so there's always going to be some of the odd spat about search terms and stuff like that. But the thing is that eBay will clean up their apps. What they were up to was quite old hat anyway. So yeah, it's a good thing. And again, moving on, the good thing is that until eBay bonuses up more dollars. The thing is that it's happened. We can't change anything, but the big saving grace, it's May, and that's the one biggest thing which I can give you for that right now. So just have a look. From August last year, when I consolidated my simple listings and variations, the sales volume killed my visibility, but shot me straight up to the best match. So now I list both. Yes, Simon. I've just read you, so let me just read that out for anybody who's just listening to this on the recording. So from August last year, when I consolidated my simple listings into variation listings to get the sales volume up through one listing. This killed my visibility in Google, but shot me straight up to the top of best match. So now I list both. Simon, I think we covered this like maybe 3-4 weeks ago. If you are ever offered or told to do one of two options, okay, do both. Right, just as entrepreneurs, if you have to, if you've got an or option as an entrepreneur, you should always be thinking, how can I do both? Always.
How can I make it an and? Yeah.
Yeah. So how can I have my simple listings and my variation listings? And I'd probably continue until I'm told off. Okay. Just the way which I work. All right. And my personal view as well. If you're ever
dealing with eBay, they will tell you off first. Amazon, I wouldn't do it on Amazon, but eBay, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the mentality of an entrepreneur. Always look for it's our jobs to look at the world differently. Okay. Good lad. Again, let's be frank here, right? If you weren't getting told off by somebody or not failing in what you're doing, you're not trying hard enough. Okay,
pushing those boundaries.
Last year, my personal New Year's resolution was to fail, and that may sound really strange, but it was a simple purpose that if I try really, really hard, then I'm going to fail at something. Failure, in my eyes, is really, really good, and being told off is one of those things as well. So, do them all. Totally, because that's what I would be doing. I can't tell you anything else because that's exactly what I would do. I would do both, or chuck in some auctions as well, especially with the new format for the auctions which are coming out as well. So I kind of really like that. Loaded auctions. I really like that one. Okay. So moving on. It's easy to get set up. Yeah, totally. Separate listing groups for that. So moving on. I did set myself this challenge of trying to build a completely responsive and remote controllable listing template builder for eBay. So let me just pause and give you an insight to what I was trying to achieve in a very, very short space of time. And I can tell you I got very, very close, and I'll get to that why I'm not continuing that line of development for the time being. Okay, so what I was aiming for was for you to be able to just list your eBay title, your description, and your image gallery into an eBay listing template, and then completely remote control that listing. And when I say completely, I mean the design, the look, the feel, any of the widgets which get loaded in, your terms and conditions, your shipping policies, anything which you may be quite used to right now revising on eBay or through M2E Pro. My challenge was to load the entire lot in dynamically. Now, Dave, you saw some of the stuff which I was up to as I was dropping it in, and I was getting really, really, really close. Yeah. Okay. And technically, it is possible, but the thing is that I'm stuck on the last 5%, and that last 5% is to make it 100% compatible. Okay, again, my personal responsibility, if I'm going to do something like this, my personal responsibility is to you and your business. And if it cannot be like 99.9999% effective and loads every single time, I can't give it out. And again, it's just my line for it, because if if the listing doesn't load correctly for just one of your customers, then that's a potential sale loss, and I can't like sleep at night knowing that. So what I've had to do, and I've just got to rewind it and starting it off again today. And again, I'm not starting from scratch. I've done like 50% of the work already. I've just got to put a few bits in now. It's all happy days from here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wind it back and go for a halfway house where you actually load up the vast majority of the template into just like what you traditionally know for a listing template, the bit which makes it look pretty, and I'll get as much as sensibly possible remotely controllable from within inside Widget Chimp. And what I mean by that is that the design, the color scheme, your logo, any terms and conditions, shipping policy, email contact details, any related items, the other bits and bobs. They'll be completely remote controllable. The idea is that instead of you having to hit revise for however many listings you've got in M2E Pro or any third-party tool, is that you make the changes in Widget Chimp and it should apply. Sorry, the neighbour's dogs, which you don't hear normally in the tutorials. Come back onto the topic, is that the idea is that you can put the one change in and it will apply to all your live listings as well. So that you can technically, or almost in real time, change the way that your live listings look and feel to your customers. Okay, now it is 100% responsive. All the prototypes work. Not only, again, just to give you an insight, I've got 2 Android phones. They work perfectly fine on those. Again, very different screen sizes and different versions of Android as well. And inside the eBay apps and on the iPad. And Dave, when we tested it on your iPhone as well, worked perfectly there as well. So we've got the mobile side covered. Again, I am using a framework for this because I'm not reinventing the wheel for this. What I'm looking to do is you leverage the framework, the compatibility, and then add in the features which you need, or I feel that you need, on live eBay listings. So it's going to take a day or 2 to get this licked as well. Apologies on my part front. This is what I was going to do originally, and then I found something which would allow me to do like the Holy Grail, in my world, the Holy Grail, and I just buckled down. I almost ran out of coffee the other day when we were talking on Skype, so there was hardly any coffee left in the jar. Yeah, 2.5 days, 9 on solid. I got extremely close, but it's not at that level which I can give it to you. So it's going to take me a couple of weeks to in reality, just to work out all the small stuff, because it does need to work every single time because it's your customers, in short. So I'm going to go for a nice happy halfway house for the time being, and we'll see what we can do for retrofitting the listings later. Simon Barry, export my listings. I'm glad that you said that. Yes. It's actually been run for Richard. Yours is finished, by the way, so I'll do your export later. And I've also got 2 other exports which have run in the background as well. They are running. Just to give you a heads up, they do take 2 seconds to listings. So Richard, you had 9 hours to export all your listings, just to give you a heads up for it. Okay, it's not fast, and again, the reason why it's not fast is because eBay is not fast at getting this data back. Okay, so again, I do ask for a lot, okay, from eBay, and it does take about 2 seconds to pull a listing. So if you've got a lot of listings, it does take quite a while. Okay, Simon, if you would like to email me in the background. Okay, and again, you will need a Widget Chimp account and an eBay ID set up in there. Okay, is that if you can let me know your login name for Widget Chimp, okay, and I'll go and pull it in the background. I've actually got the process for running it pretty quick now. Okay, several thousands, over 10,000, by the way, Dom. Okay, it was a lot. Okay, so whatever many listings you've got, add 50% on top, and then double it, and then times it by 2 to get the number of seconds, and then just stick it into Google to work out how many hours that will take. That's a very rough calculation. Okay, yeah, it should be working for variations. Okay, 100,000. Yeah, that might take a while. Okay, there are some, again, it might be a case, Dom, for your kind of volume with that many listings, is that I can restrict the amount of data which I can get back. So that will take a while to come down anyway, which we do it, but it is possible to get the data out. Okay. Yeah, Chris, by the way, variations, I don't know if I answered that a few moments ago. Yeah, it should be, again, I built it for variations in the first place. Okay, so it should be fine with variations on there. And there is one thing which I need to do, which is a separate export just for the descriptions as well, so you can to match them up. Pat, if we've lost you, back in the days, I started building a tool called Export My Listings, and it's a tool to take or to download your eBay listing. So imagine if you've been selling onto eBay and you don't have any tool in place at all, and you need to take your eBay listing data and then put it into Magento, and that's what that tool does. Okay, it will download all of your again, I've been saying it soon, again, it's just a matter of priorities. CSV, totally, okay, and it will give you the layout for MagMe as well. That's the crucial piece. It will give you the MagMe layout, okay. So you will need a little bit of work in the background. Well, okay, if you're using templates and you've been using no third-party software and you've got lots of HTML in your descriptions, you're gonna be doing a lot of editing work for your descriptions. There's no way around that one at the moment, okay. But that's what Export My Listings is, okay. So there was two. Yeah, nice. I just read Mark's comment as well. Yeah, I presume you've got the reverse feed enabled. That's happy days. That does make life an awful lot easier. There was two other things as well. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll cover one off now. UE theme update. Those of you which have got the Understanding E admin theme, that's gone through a 0.1 update, okay, which is that it's just minor fixes. That's all it was. Again, if you don't notice anything in that update, brilliant, okay. But it was about 70 or so minor updates. My favourite update, Dave, you know that one. It was just the
search button.
the search button, because it's been bugging me for it. Okay, so it's just minor updates. And again, I'll pause in for a moment because I'm just going to read the chat box from there. So just from Maria, if you have a listing in Magento and eBay for the same item, if your export listing from eBay overwrite the Magento listing or create additional listings. It depends what you do on the import, Maria, is the answer to that one, which is that it will give you all of your listings from eBay, okay? So whether you want to maybe do an export from Magento for all your stock level, again, all you need is the stock numbers, and then you can use a straight VLOOKUP backwards to see which ones are the duplicates in the system, okay? And you can work out which ones are new and which ones are already in the system. Of course, if they're already in the system, you can then remove them, okay? How does it handle a custom label doubler? Not entirely sure what you mean there, Chris, is the honest answer. It will use the custom title from eBay as the SKU by default. And if it can't find a custom label because you haven't entered one on the listing, for example, then it will use the eBay item number. It was the only other common or unique value which could be assigned as a stock number to the actual listing if there are no custom labels which have been set. Okay, so Maria, were you okay with the VLOOKUP? Again, I'm sorry, I've just assumed you knew what I was talking about then. Yeah, excellent. Okay, just look for errors, and anything which is an error is new. Okay. Within eBay, you can see what the SKU of your product is. Yes, you can do, Steve. So what you would want to do is go to My eBay, Selling, you got your list of items, there's a customize button in the top right hand corner, click on that, you get a little pop-up window, then you want to tick custom title and then arrange it using the up and down arrows on the right, and then click on OK on the bottom right hand corner, and then you'll get your custom title in the list. Okay. So does Magento and eBay sync based on the item number? Yeah, it should do, I believe, Simon, in inverted commas. It depends on, again, if it, so, sorry, let me just, Dave, do you want to say what the question is? And again, I'm just thinking for somebody who's listening to this afterwards.
Yeah, sure. So Simon's question was, does Magento and eBay sync based on the item number?
Okay, yeah, crucially, so number one, you won't lose your eBay listing. Okay. The second point is that if you've been enlisted from Magento to eBay, okay, using M2E Pro, then M2E Pro knows about that link up. Okay. Whether they use that upon SKU or the internal ID of the product, which is much more likely, okay, is that there will be the link. And the same for third-party listings, where you match a third-party listing, a listing which has come from outside of M2E Pro, is that it will link back to a product ID in the database, and that's exactly how they'll be doing it. So it will be done again upon product ID in the database for that product, not by item number or stock number. Okay, for it. So again, just to stress, you won't lose your eBay listing. Okay, it's just going to take it from eBay, and again, if you import it in, again, the only caveat, like I mentioned to Maria a few moments ago, is that you don't want to import DUF data in on top. Okay, that's a little bit of caveat. I'll get you the file which you can then use and adapt and play with and alter to your own requirements. And again, that last stage is the bit where you go in and import. Okay. I just reading Steve's question. If I change an eBay SKU to match the one in Magento, will it still see it as the items of third party? Yes, it will, until you do the match on the third party. So if you go to sell on eBay and then listings at the top, and then click on third party listings, it will still see it as a separate item. But when it comes to matching the items up, you will see that custom SKU, and it'll make your life a lot easier for matching them up. Okay, and again, if you have listings on eBay right now and they don't have custom SKUs, that would probably be quite high up on your list to go and do. All right, so to help you with that one out. Okay, so moving on, we're into the any other business, and we also do need to do an Amazon update, and also for the Magento design course and for Jim as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even sure where last week went. It just flew by.
Okay. Yeah, it went really, really quickly. So we're still at the same stage. We didn't get to record the last bit, the one video which is missing from the first part of the design course, which is getting the Ultimo themes settings in. We just didn't get time to do it. Okay, so that's the one video which is missing from part one. Okay. Now, when it comes to Amazon updates, unfortunately, I've not had the link back from Amazon. Okay, so I can't say what's going on in the background. We're expecting a link from Amazon. We get the Amazon Prime account, and then it's all happy days. On the bright side is that the moment we've got that, we can start doing the Amazon tutorials. Okay, so we are holding off on that one right now. We do know, again, we've got the plan of what we need to do. We just need the Amazon account to fill the blanks in the background. So we can show you real with a live Amazon account, because there is no sandbox for Amazon at all. It's either live or it's not live, and it's kind of that's it. It's either on Amazon or it's not. It's straightforward as that. So we do need to go a little bit careful for what we're up to in the background. Yeah, Amazon is once we've got, again, just a personal level, I need to sort this template builder out. Need to get that nailed. But we're not slacking in the background. We're getting to these things as fast as we can. And going back to last week and the week before, I'm turning around and looking at my whiteboard. Nothing has changed on my whiteboard. It still said order management, Amazon, and website design course. Okay, there's nothing which has been changed. Nothing's been scrubbed out in there. It's still, those are our three main priorities in there at the moment. Okay.
Well, let's not lead them to think that nothing has been done. For example, now all of the articles, the accompanying articles, supporting articles for the design guide are done. They are ready. So literally, as soon as we get this final video done, get them edited and rendered, it can be published. There's no wait time for them. Order guides with Jim. Yes, I went through on Thursday and updated all the sort of slide decks that we use. I actually was working with Jim on a couple of them. For some of you who did ask, Jim is okay. For those who know, he's currently in Thailand, and there's currently martial law and a curfew, and there's been a military coup in Thailand. He's fine. There's no massive problems where he is. It's all, again, been over-sensationalized in the media. He does have to be in bed by 10. And there was rumours that they were going to turn his internet off, but we spoke to him quite a bit, so he seems fine. But yeah, so we are hopefully going to get the everything's in place. We just need to nail Jim down, and not literally, and get on the mic and get recorded.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I also spoke to a third-party company today, and I think Simon, we spoke in the forums earlier.
Yeah.
Is that there was this other company which would give us they'd been really highly rated to be a potential option for Magento and Korean integrations and Korean rules, and unfortunately wasn't at the level which I was personally expecting. And right now, ShipEasy, PitPack, and direct Korean integrations rock. They are the far better way of managing this manual uploading of files to websites like RMDMO, such as RMDMO, the Royal Mail Dispatch Manager Online, or into couriers. It's not going to wash it. Pat and Richard, because you're based in the US, ShipStation and the ShipWorks. We don't have stuff like that in the UK. We do, but it's really expensive. Okay. ShipStation, yeah, really, really good. If you're in the US, you're fine.
Yeah.
In the UK, it's a little bit more tricky.
We're well jealous that the US have that.
Yeah.
If someone could build that over here, that'd be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, we've been approached in the history to do that, and they were being a bit cheeky, to say the least. Anyway, coming back onto the topic. By the way, so just an update for this. ShipEasy, PitPack, and a direct courier integration is still the way to go, because it is, you can print those labels on demand, you can customize those labels very, very easily, and it's got all the settings in there for you to do it. So that was the only wild card which we had. I'm really glad that I've seen that now, because it just says we just need to revisit them in several months' time to maybe reevaluate what's going on over there. But right now, we're sticking with PitPack, ShipEasy, and direct courier integrations. And that reminds me, Royal Mail DMO with Mark and James, which I know one or two of you have actually been speaking to in the background. Yeah, we've got those tutorials, that tutorial to nail as well to get sorted. So we are working in the background. One other thing which we're going to be doing, again, we've got that up on the screen actually, which is the any other business, is that one thing which we like to do at the same time is share what's going on the other side. And again, we do this. We're doing some of that this evening. We're actually sharing on what's going on with the understanding of the business at the same time. Again, to give you an insight to what's going on behind the scenes as well. We know how much work you put in, and you kind of got an idea of how much work me and Dave are putting in as well. And again, getting those articles up together, and getting the videos in, but trying to build a team in the background, an expensive but qualified and able team in the background, is always a challenge. And again, we've got the same challenges which what we've got with you, but slightly differently because of our business model. Is that we've got to be in there at 9:20 at night. We've got to be up at early in the morning, and having to take a siesta in the afternoon so we can work those extra long hours for it. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so basically there will be a 6-month podcast. We're actually going to be 6 months live on the 1st of June, which is ridiculous. I can't even tell you where that time has gone. But yeah, it's flown by. And yeah, it's one of our review podcasts where we're just going to take a look at what we've done and also what we still have to do, what we've got coming up, and where we sort of want to take Understanding E for the next 6 months and beyond. So yeah, exciting times, and that podcast will most likely be recorded next week sometime.
Okay, Mark, I've been seeing your message in the background, so I'm not actually going to read this message out because it's private to the presenters. Okay, I'm really stuck. So I tell you what, Mark, we play fair in the background. Can you do me a favour? Can you email me? So matt@understandinge.com. I almost gave out the wrong email address then. Understandinge.com. Okay. Email me your landline, preferably. Okay. And I'll give you a shout first thing in the morning on the phone. Okay. So, yeah,
And I will remind Matt to give you a call first thing in the morning.
Yeah, right. So happy days. Yeah, and just Jacob, I'll read that one out. I think just how much content you've developed and you've put together in just 6 months. Yes, personally, I'm blown away on how quickly you've been able to move on some of this stuff. Again, we're getting faster. There's one hole in it. Again, just talking from our point of view in our business right now, we've got one hole in our business, which is that we need a full-time developer in the business. That's probably the next cool hire, or the next hire which is like needed, and then that'll just free up my time so we can get back into to do more stuff in the tutorials, and come back and do the content part on there. Okay, that's probably that's our biggest struggle right now. But finding someone like that, which is capable, understands, and also is at a budget which we can afford as well, is a bit of a struggle. So right now it's ad hoc work which is coming through from contractors to do little bits and bobs, but that's probably the next biggest win. But the team we've got in place right now is pretty good. Adrian and Tina are absolutely amazing.
Fantastic.
Okay, and Simon, just to flip variations. Yeah, it's a tricky one. The reason being is there's a couple of extensions which can do this. Color swatch. I think it's the extensionsmole.com or something like extensionmole.com. They've got an extension called Color Swatch. One of the challenges is that that's not really compatible with the Ultimo theme. Okay, and again, I know this because of several of the sites which I've designed using the Ultimo theme, is that it can get a bit tricky around that area. And their two galleries don't like working together. So there's something which we've got to nail, and I know about it, but I need to put it off. Okay. So on that point, Dave, have I missed anything off our list for this evening?
I don't think we have, but I am quickly going to Skype you something.
Top secret.
Not sure whether it's for now or it's for podcast.
Just waiting for it to appear. Chop chop.
It's gone.
Oh, was that the other marketplace request? We'll save that one for later.
All right,
yeah,
no worries.
Yeah, we'll save that one for later. Okay, yeah, can't tell you that one just yet, but we're on it. Yeah, that's something which is really, really cool in the background as well.
It's a good problem.
Yeah. That's up there of good problems. So we'll save that one for the podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, because I know I've just looked at the time, we have been chatting for about an hour or so. Do you have any questions before we go? And again, just like Richard, I got your email in the background and replied. By the way, that was perfectly normal. It's because you're using HTTPS in the admin panel of Magento. So that's the web browser protecting you from a non-secure iframe on the page. So that's perfectly okay, again, because we don't have a security certificate on the understand any domain. If I completely lost you there, just ignore me. Mark, email me directly. That would be great. Oh, somebody else wanted the export my listings. Simon, I believe. Simon from earlier. If you can email directly, matt@understandthe.com. Let me know your Chimp user ID, and I'll go and get the the download started, and we'll just leave it to run overnight. And Richard, I know that I need to get yours as well, so I need to get that run as well. So where's my notes? Richard, run, export, and then I'll get those files across to you as well. Dom, we did speak to that company. Probably want to speak to you directly on that one rather than an open forum. Okay, just seeing the notes through. Okay. I'd love to see a tutorial on about ways to rank higher on Google, etc., etc. Yeah, going back to what you were saying earlier on, quality, unique content, the hardest route possible always wins. It sucks. So I like this suggestion. We need to get something in there, okay, for it. So when do you think we'll be live? Should it be available? So right on now, not too sure. I've got to, sorry, let me get this right. I want to finish the responsive template, and then I want to get on as well. And Pat, I'm glad that Simple Helix is amazing for you. But by the way, Pat's in Texas, as you may have already guessed. It was using a VPS, and again, this is why we suggest Simple Helix, is because they're just like Simple servers in the UK. They're really, really fast. And again, it was fast for me, and I'm in the UK, and it's bouncing the big pond. If you're already on the other side of the pond, it must be really, really quick for you. So I'm glad that you got that sorted.
And just so you know, Pat absolutely hammered the living daylights out of his Simple Helix web host that we set up, didn't you? You almost broke it.
Yeah, it did.
But it dealt with such a load that we knew it could handle Magento.
Yeah, even our site
broke it on purpose.
Yeah, even our site won't hold.
That request would never go through.
Yeah, even our site won't hold 350 continuous or simultaneous connections. So that's like kind of on the same kind of level. So push and take, isn't it? It's shared hosting. It did really well considering. And I think I did about just over a gig of transfer in an extremely short period of time. I did hammer the living daylights out on it, and it was responding, and that's what I was looking for. So, and you save $50 a month as well. Happy days. Okay. So on that note, we're going to go and call it an evening. If you're up early in the morning, have a fantastic day. If you're up if it's lunchtime or early afternoon, have a really productive afternoon. And remember, if you're ever offered an or option, try and turn it into an and option. That's our role as entrepreneurs. Always try and go for the ands. All right. So thank you for this evening. Really appreciate it. And thank you for spending the time with us. We do really, really appreciate that.
We do. And if we don't see you in the forums, then we'll see you next week.
Indeed. Cheerios.
Bye, guys.